On Friday, we took these trades, broke these entire trades on my YouTube, but we broke these trades and this is why we took them. So I broke this USD CHF trade. I also broke down Euro USD and AUD USD, GBP USD, and also broke down gold. Now, USD CHF, for instance, we can see the market came back down to this trend line. And then we said for us, we do not take trades off the trend line bounce, or we prefer to take trades off the counter trend line break. So this is what we said. I put out this trend line. I said that we're waiting for the market to break above this trend line. Then we shall be sure that we are now taking our buy on the trend line. So this is what happens, and we are hoping that next week as the market opens, we would trade continuing to this level. So that's what we have on USDCH. Moving forward to GBP USD, ideally, this is the same thing, almost the same playbook. But let's first go back to USDCHF. You can see market always, we take trades on psychological levels. This is what I always talk about. So this is psychological level here, and also the trend line bounce off. So we take trades from there. So if you go to 15 minutes time, for example, it's going to give us a more clear picture on how the trade was actually taken. So you can see this is something like the morning star. This is the morning star pattern that we trade always. So after that, we can actually be sure that the market is going to give us in that direction. So also GBP USD, you can see this is the evening star after rejecting the trend line, and that's what we're trading. So already I had a bias that we are going to have a sell on GBP USD, and you see this is what happened on Friday. Even as much as in the evening during the New York session, the market pushed up at this level, but we still were sure that the market is going to drop afterwards anyways. So you can see the market has given us this move down, and we are hoping that it could continue to the downside for a week as the market opens. So next week, we want to see the market now. What happens is we are likely to reject off this trend line, because it was broken but has not been retested. So we could bounce off of this trend line, but then come and create another counter trend line or trend line, which is actually going to work as our safety line thereafter. So if we come and break below this trend line, then that means we are having the targets to this trend line here. But if it doesn't, then we're hoping a rejection should be against at this line, because this is going to be a major turn into support. So we could have a turnaround from this point to push up, or we want to break below this psychological level and then head to the next psychological level, which is this one, and also that trend line over there. So that's what we're going to be having on GBP USD. Moving forward on gold, I have refined this. Now you can see I spoke about this level. I said this is a major resistance turning to support, and we said that it's going to push the market high. So the market came and traded to this trend line over here. Now, by that time, this trend line was having this first touch and this as the second touch. And now this is the third touch. So you can see at all points, the market reacted off of that. Now, when you go to 1 hour, this is going to show us an order block. Okay. If you look at 1 hour, okay, this is now the order block we're talking about. And this is the fair value gaps that were filled. So we can see now I'm now refining this trend line to come and give us this. And we're saying next week we want to see the break above this trend line or break below this trend line. And then if it does break below this trend line, then we are going to be having this trend line as the next target. As we wait for the market to bounce off of this trend line to give us another push to the upside. Or we want to see the market break above this trend line and then we give us another push to the upside. So next week we could have something like this breaking above this level, come to retest it maybe on this trend line or somewhere around this level to give us a push to the upside. This is entirely our strategy that we're trading. We could have the push below to come to these levels, and then we now see a bounce off to the upside on gold. So on Euro USD, still the same trade we caught. I am going to probably show a screenshot of the trades we took. I did not take gold trade, but I took Euro USD, and the rest of the trades that we are going to be analyzing in this video. So Euro USD also gave us a projection off of this trend line over here. And you can see ideally, You can see the market has rejected this. We want to see another continuation to the up downside. Now, I have left this trend line here because it's likely to reject that market. Why? Because it was broken but was not yet retested. So we could have a retest on this trend line, and then we can have the market move upward if it's supposed to go into bullishness anyways. But otherwise, we want to see the market break below this trend line, okay? We want to see the market come and break below this trend and maybe ideally come and test it, and we shall have the sales coming in over there. But if not, we want to see again market pushing lower to this trend line and this one merging somewhere, and then we push to the upside before we now take the sales at that point. So that's what we're going to be having on Euro USD.